Hello YouTube, this is Brian Tubbs coming at you with another video. I told you guys that I would kind of let you guys in on making up the extenders or arms for Odyssey. So I'm going to get started with that process. I'll just show you guys kind of how we're doing it, and give you a little insight, a little tip on how I bend my corners without using a brake. So you just stick around. I'll kind of show you that toward the end of the video. The video isn't like to be that long because I got a lot of welding and moving and whatnot to do. I'll be moving around and doing other things. But I'll just kind of let you guys see kind of the starter process. Then how I bent the metal to get the angles that I want. So I'm gonna kind of flip the camera around just so you guys can see what I'm doing over here on the work table. I'll be working between tables. I'll be doing some work here, and I'll be doing some work over here by the vise. I'll be putting some pieces in there and just kind of showing you guys kind of how we do it. So I showed you guys in the last video that I will be taking these extenders and putting them on the outer edge of Odyssey just to build it out some, because it's really narrow going up. And Odyssey is a different type of piece. It's almost built like a Egyptian's tomb or coffin in a sense, because there's an inside frame. It's almost an inside complete piece, and then we built the walls expanding out. Then we put a triangle down the front, so the pieces comes out and away from the center like this, come to a point going down, and from the top down it's on a sharp steep angle this way, and then they come to the top of this triangle that we extruded out from the piece. So it's on both sides. It extrudes out on both sides. It's not just a flat piece. It extends out, then tapers down, and goes up and tapers up. So it's a different piece. We have not done it before. It's a very difficult piece to do. I'm trying to get the 14 gauge stainless steel to move like we wanted it to move. We had to try to manipulate it. We did all kinds of things just to get that piece like it was. And then down the center of the triangle, front, it's 10 gauge stainless steel. So it's quite a bit of work. But now getting to this, I'm using my Weld Pro 210 LCD MIG welder just to get all the tacks going. And once I decide if it's going to move or not when I weld it, I might TIG weld it, or I might just stick with the MIG welder. Just depends on, once I get it together, just how it's flowing. Because this is the first time we'll be building arms or extenders for that piece, because it's the first time we ever made that piece. So this whole process with this one is just different. I mean, some of the other pieces are very difficult too, but they're not quite as difficult as this thing, because this thing is just, it's something I had in my head and I wanted to try it, so I tried it. It worked out. It's beautiful. I mean, it's a stainless steel piece. Down the sides it has core 10. The base and the sides on the lower portion are 410. So just another blend of metal. So I have this piece. This will be the front, and the other side will be the other front or sides. Then we'll have another 3.5 inch piece coming down the center, and on the inside down the center. So these are the pieces that I bent without using a brake. I didn't use a brake for these. The 16 gauge core 10 steel. And after I tack it up a little bit, I'll show you guys how I get these bends. They're perfect bends. I mean, there's no wrinkles, no kinks. Really, really smooth without using a brake, because a brake just takes up space in your shop. I mean, if you do a lot of bending, then yes, you need a brake. But if you only bend certain things at certain times, you really don't need a brake. A lot of our pieces have like really sharp edges, but I do it differently than I do this, because normally I'm using a thicker metal in most cases, and it's just easier just to cut the pieces separately and weld them together. But this piece, I want to do it a little bit differently, just so I can show you guys a little trick on how we do it. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get started welding. Just tacking up. You guys can just kind of take a look. So what I did was to follow this outer edge. I bent this metal, so now this metal will really just sit in there and just fits right up to this piece. There's no manipulating, nothing. Then with this one on the inside, I just took it, measured it from here, this point to this point, bent this, and now they'll just sit in there. And I just tack it right in without any issue. And I will just kind of bring you guys in a little bit more, so maybe you can get a little better view of what I'm doing here. What I'll do is the inside piece first. So I'll just take it, just snug it into the corner. What I'm going to do first, I think, I'm going to clamp this down to the table, so it's not moving when I'm trying to tack it. That one, yeah, got the clamp. Alright, there we go. So it won't move as much, and it'll suck down to the table better than what I had before. Alright, here we go. I'm going to be pushing this piece down to the table to make sure it's not elevated off the table. So I want these edges to line up well when I flip this over. I don't want this to be sticking up too high off the outside of the wall. So a little bit more difficult to weld it like that. So here we go. Like I said, when I'm welding, when I pull the trigger, I close my eyes. But if you guys are doing this at home, I would just recommend you wear your helmet. Snug it up to the outside corner, pushing down the metal with my tip of my board. Down the line. Right about here, the metal is going on a straight line, but then it bends probably about 3 degrees the opposite way. So I weld it up to this point. I'm going to do it on both sides, and then I'll cut this piece of excess metal off right at that point where it breaks, because this lower portion will be welded to the bottom section of Odyssey, whereas through here will be all open. So the next step will be to weld the front portion on, just so you guys can see that, and then we're going to have to kind of break away, and I'll show you guys how we got these bends, and then I'll have to get back to work because I'm really pushing. But then when I get to a certain point, I'll make another video so you guys can see what the final product looks like and what it looks like when we put one on. Alright. So we're welding this one from the inside. Lay it on here like so. Oh, it fits perfectly. I just snug it right up into the corner, and all I have to do is just kind of fold these over. My fingers. I don't have to use any tubes or anything, just fold over my fingers. That's how nicely it fits. Right down the line. Now check this to be sure I'm very level under here. Feels pretty good. have a little debris between here. Get some TIG wire, thin TIG wire, clean it out. By the debris, I mean just when I use a grinder on this, there's a little bit of fuzz coming up, that's all. When I'm doing like beads, I wear my helmet. Of course, when I'm TIG welding, I wear my helmet. But when I'm tacking, sometimes I'll water, just depends on how long the runs are. But in most cases, I'll just close my eyes, which is not good. So you guys don't do what I do, but it's just kind of what I do sometimes. Give you guys a little closer look. This is what it looks like now. See the inside of it. And like again, I cut it off here because I don't need this to be covered. This will be welded against the piece. It'll be welded against the piece here and down these seams. So I don't need to have that fill. It'll just be added weight. So now what I'll do is take the other piece for this side, set it on top, snug it right into these corners, tacking, just start tacking them. And after that, I'll decide whether I'm going to TIG weld it or MIG weld it. It just depends on how I'm feeling and if I think this is going to move. If I TIG it, if I feel it's going to move, like shrink or contract or expand, I mean, I'll MIG it. So it just depends. I love doing art, especially new pieces, because it causes your mind to expand. You have to expand your mind in order to make different pieces. A lot of artists I know just copy other artists' work, which I think is one of the worst things you can do. There's a book called Steal Like an Artist. Because a lot of times artists will go around there stealing other people's work and just do it exactly like that person's work. But most artists will take someone's work and make it better. But the best thing to do is to create it yourself. Like I said in one of the other videos, I get most of my ideas on Saturday mornings right when I wake up. No other day of the week, it's just Saturday mornings. I'll get these crazy ideas and then normally by Sunday I'm working on that piece. And this is one of those pieces. And it's just an amazing thing to do. Alright, so now I'll just set the other piece on top, tack it in a few places, and then I'll show you guys how I got these bins, and then I have to just kind of move on from there. I'm just going to lay it in here, get my screwdriver or pry bar to open it because it's tight, because it fit up so well. Normally when you build something like this, you have either large gaps or really tight areas and open areas, but this fits up like a glove. Which causes me to have to do a little more work. Which is fine. So what I'll do is I'll take a screwdriver, stick it in, and walk it down as I go. And that'll allow this top piece of metal to fall down in there. Alright. Grab my hammer over here. I'm going to tap this a little bit. Alright. So what we're going to do now is kind of tack it in place in a couple spots. I'm going to get my clamp on the clamp this spot. Just kind of pull it in just a little bit. I'm really happy with the fit up because it looks really good. When you have good fit up, your welding is a lot easier. Because you're not trying to force or manipulate the metal. It's just there. It's doing what it's supposed to do. Really a good thing when pieces come together like one or two. This piece almost perfectly aligned to this outer wall, because if I want to take water, I'll just fuse it. I won't even have to use much of the take water. I'll just fuse it all the way down until it just melt right together. Just melt right together. Alright, so I'm going to keep walking down this way with the screwdriver and just tack it. That there. So to hold it in place, I'll just tack it. Now I just keep walking. Pretty good. Alright, so just continuing on. Now this is the spot I have to be careful because I don't want to weld this metal to that, then I have to go in and cut, do all this stuff. Because this is where the angle, where the metal changes angle. It goes from going down this way and it cuts that way. You gotta be careful there. See how to get the metal open so it'll fall in there. I'm just clamping it so it won't pop out. Go ahead and tack it here. I don't want this sitting higher than the wall. I do not want the wall sitting much higher than this piece. I'll take my hand and I'll push it down. Just get it fairly even. Then I'll tack it in. What I'll do also, if I need to, I'll grab one of my clamps, put it here so it won't pop up. Take these out now because that's what's going to keep it from jumping out. Now it's just a matter of tagging in a few more places. Knock down the floor. release this clamp, sometimes it'll pop up a little bit. So again, I want my walls and this flat portion fairly even. If this comes out of this slot, that's okay. I'll just put it back in. I gotta get this a little bit more even. Take this screwdriver and I'll pry it up down here. This will cause it to raise here where I want to attack. All right, good. Looking pretty good. Just take my hand and just rubbing. Make sure this wall out here, this vertical, is not sticking too far above the horizontal, nor the horizontal is above the vertical. I want to touch it right there. With these pieces being so tight, I think I'm going to have to TIG weld it, because if I MIG weld it, I'll spend hours having to, grinding, I have to weld again, touching up pinholes, touching the lines. If I TIG it, I'll just TIG it and be done with it. Again, the challenge with TIG is to keep it from twisting. Alright guys, I'm going to show you what it looks like at this point. This is it here. 3D piece. It's open on the bottom. And I'm going to cut this excess off, but I want to leave enough of this metal extending past the side so that when I put it on there, I won't have a gap here. I want this tight to that metal so I can just TIG it right across there, tight. And then on this portion here, I extend it past where the metal angles off. So I got to cut it right where it starts to angle. So when I fit it up on there, it'll be snug. There won't be any gap in there. All right, guys. So this is the extension or the arm for Odyssey. So since you guys stuck around, I'm going to show you how we get the bends. I'm going to show you again the bends. I don't have to do any manipulation at all. I was able to take my fingers and squeeze the metal together to make it touch the other metal. I was able to tack it together. I would have to say it's perfect. I don't think you can get any better than this. Even with the most expensive brake, you can't get any better than this, I don't think. All right. Now, to get that type of bend, your metal. Without using a brake. I'm just taking 2 flat pieces of Core-10 steel. It's about 16 gauge. It could be 16 gauge, it could be 14 gauge, it could be 12 gauge. I don't care what gauge it is. Still the same process, basically. So what you do, like for example, on the small piece, the inside piece, you take this piece, get that measurement. I'll just take the metal itself and measure it. I'll measure it from this edge, or this inside corner, to this outer edge. I'll measure it right there. I'll take my scratch awl and just mark it. I've already marked it. Lay it right there, take the scratch out, mark it. Then, take your other piece, line it up with this corner and this corner. Just line them up, get your measurement, mark this piece with your scratch awl. Then, and if you're not familiar with a scratch awl, this is what it looks like. It looks almost like an ice pick. It has a point on the tip. So when you put it on your metal, you scratch your line in, wherever you want to cut or bend or whatever you want to do. Or you can use a magic marker, but the magic marker leaves a wider line. I'll show you. I oftentimes use a magic marker when I'm not really concerned about the bend or the cut being critical. Okay, here's the magic marker. And your scratch awl is here, you can barely see it. The magic marker is a little bit wider, and depending on which magic marker I'm using, sometimes a line will be even wider than that. So then when I'm ready to cut the plasma cut or whatever, I got to remember, should I cut on this side or that side, or how close to that line should it be? But with a scratch awl, you're going to cut basically right on that scratch awl line, because it's going to be right next to the piece that you're marking. This is a scratch awl. You get it from Harbor Freight or any tool supply, but the ones at Harbor Freight are inexpensive, they last forever. Another thing I use, I think I might have in my pocket, is a center punch. Looks like this. And what you do is when you're going to cut a circle either with a hole saw or a circle cutter or a plasma cutter, you just take it, you find where you want your hole to be, put this in the center of the hole and punch. I usually do it 2 times, and it leaves a little indent there. So when you put your drill bit on, your drill bit won't be running all over the place. It'll stay right in that hole and you'll drill through. Another Harbor Freight tool. So the scratch awl and then the hole punch. It has a spring loaded. So when you push down, it goes in, then the spring shoots it out, which drives it into the metal. All right. So for this, put my face shield on. And I'll grab my square. I'll line this up with my scratch awl mark. I'll just line it up. I'll be right on that mark. Then I'll make sure it's lined up and square. I'll take my cutoff wheel. I use a DeWalt angle grinder. It doesn't matter whether it's DeWalt, Milwaukee, whatever it is. Then I use a cutoff wheel. Lay it right on there, right under my mark. One second. All right, so after you do that, what you do is you just score the line in. As you can see, it just scored in. You don't cut all the way through, of course. You just go back and forth maybe 3 times. Just score that line in. Hope you guys can see that. I'm gonna go from one edge to the other. Just score it in. And when you look at it from straight on, you should see a little divot, just a little bit, not too much. Then you take it over to your brake, not your brake, but your homemade brake, if you will. What I have is a vise and 2 pieces of wood. And I'm gonna take this line and I'm gonna slide it between that wood. The wood is gonna be sitting here on the front and back. Then I can just take my piece and just bend it. And since this is going to be in here, I'm going to take it and bend it this way, away from my line. But if I was going to put it, okay, it's going to be in here, bending from here out that way. So I cut my line in here, I'm going to bend it on the outside. If I was cutting that same line to lay on here, the side that I cut the line in, I will bend it on that side. But since this is opposite, I'm going to bend it the other way. I hope you guys can see me over here. Follow me this way. Putting it between the wood, lining that line up at the top of the wood. Best as possible. Then we'll take my piece, put a little pressure on it, down low. Not too much, but you don't have to. I just manipulate it a little bit more until I get what I want. On that line. And I'll bend it, and I'll come test it. If you can see this, fits perfectly. Then all you have to do is, if you need to manipulate it a little bit, just take it. You can use your fingers if you have to. You don't have to use anything other than that. Get a little tweak, and it's in there. You can see that? It's in there perfectly. And then with the other one, you would basically just do the same thing. You find your scratch all line. You grab your square, put it right on that line. Not this way, not that way, put it right on that line. Put your face shield down. Make your cut. Like I said, when you look at it from the side, you should see a divot where it is dug in. And that's the line for it right there. And it's in probably about a quarter of the way in. You don't want to go too far because you'll cut through the back side. You don't want to do that. You want to keep your metal in one piece. So then you do the same thing. You take it over to your wood and your vise. Stick it in. Get it right up to the line. And remember which way it's going to bend. The inside one bent away from my cut line. This is going to bend toward my cut line. It's going to fold over the cut line. Alright, let me go get you. Let's see. I have it right up to that line. And I have this pretty tight. Then just take my hand and then gently push. Just like that. My line is clean. Look at that. Now, so you can put it on. I need to move it a little bit more. This is fine. Just a little bit more. Lay it on there. There you go. Line is perfect. It just fits right on there. You can manipulate it a little bit if you need to, which is just taking your fingers and just moving the metal. But that's how we do it. But again, don't tell anyone. This is a secret. Because most of the time, if you don't do it like this, you got to put this piece and this piece together on the piece, and then you got to waste time welding it up and then grinding it and trying not to leave too many divots and all the other stuff that goes along with that. Just do it just like that. Score it, put it in your vise. If your vise is tall enough, if your vise is not tall enough, get some pieces of wood or the metal, whichever you need to do, so you can get it up to that line. So you can tighten your vise down and bend it. Alright guys, this video is just about the extensions or extrusions or arms of Odyssey that I promised you I would show you. And I promised you if you stuck around, I would show you how to do this. Bending metal perfectly without using a brake. Okay guys, I'll see you on the next one, and hopefully on the next video I will be finished with these, and either I will have mounted them onto Odyssey or will be mounting them on Odyssey, just so you can see what the final finished product looks like. Alright, again, this is Brian Tubbs. I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a great day, and peace out.